It's Friday, April 7th, 2023. I want to start today's video, and before I do, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, share these videos, and make sure you give this video a like. But most of all, please make sure you subscribe, support the channel, support the message, make sure you subscribe. But I want to get right into this video. I was watching a couple videos today on YouTube, actually. And these videos were about Venezuela back in the day and just a little bit of the history of Venezuela. And I really believe that we are heading in the direction of Venezuela. And if you ever get a couple minutes, if you have a little time this weekend, go back and look at some of the history of Venezuela. By 1970, it was one of the richest countries in the world. By 1950, Venezuela had the fourth richest GDP per capita. 4 times richer than Japan, 12 times richer than China. By 1982, they were still the richest country in Latin America. Fast forward to today, they have inflation around 200%. In 2017, inflation in Venezuela was 438%. In 2020, inflation was 2,355%. Now, what caused this? Most of you know it was money printing, it was mismanagement, it was spending lots of money. But at the end of the day, it's mismanagement and it's the printing press. And look at where we're at today as a country. You talk about mismanagement, you talk about money printing, you talk about spending. We are doing this on steroids compared to what Venezuela was doing years ago. And this is why I think we're heading in the same direction. People used to vacation in Venezuela. They used to fly in on the Concorde. Remember the Concorde, that luxury jet? They used to fly in from Paris to Venezuela to vacation. They used to have a booming economy. We used to have a booming economy. No longer. Right now, presently, they have 304 billion barrels of oil in reserves. But they're so mismanaged, they can't even capitalize on it. That's just how much of a mess it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's sad but true. We're heading in the same direction. But here's the question you have to ask yourself. What would America look like if we began to see hyperinflation like Venezuela? Now, in one of the videos, a gentleman went through the barrios, rough place of town, rough area, and it looks safer and cleaner than many parts of LA. Just 2 hours from my house here. Areas right here in Coachella Valley look rougher than some of the barrios in Venezuela. And it makes you think, what if, or when it does happen, because I think it's not a matter of if, it's now a matter of when something like this takes place in America. But if we were to see hyperinflation in America, how about if we just saw 20% inflation, 40% inflation, 50% inflation? What do you think it would look like here? How bad would it be? How dangerous would it be? What would the crime look like? If you think it's bad now, you add 40, 50% inflation into this economy, you would not leave your house. Probably 20% you would not leave your house. So it's a scary thought, but it's something that we have to be thinking about right now, something that we have to be preparing for right now, because we are heading in the direction of Venezuela right now. We are watching this country head into a third world nation. We are watching the printing presses overheat. We are watching absolute reckless spending take place and mismanagement unlike we have ever seen in the history of the United States. But that being said, let's talk about something else. Got Nugget over here chewing on something, so if you hear anything, you know who it is. I want to talk about these job numbers. We got this coming from CNBC. Job growth totals 236,000 in March, near expectations as hiring pace slows. Unemployment has ticked down to 3.5%. Average hourly earnings rose 0.3%, pushing the 12-month increase to 4.2%. So real wages are still down. Unemployment rate for blacks tumbled 0.7% to a record low 5%. Do you believe these numbers? Personally, I do not. But here's one thing I do believe. I do believe now that we are getting these type of numbers, that the Fed is not going to have any other choice but to raise rates yet again in May. Now, there was a good chance that they would pause in May, but now with these numbers, whether they're real or not, this is going to justify the Fed to continue raising rates and holding rates higher. So this will be very, very bad news for a majority of Americans. I personally don't believe these numbers to think that unemployment is ticking down to 3.5%. When we look at the massive layoffs that are taking place, jobless claims the last couple of weeks have been over 200,000. Something just doesn't add up here. CNSnews.com, 160,800, excuse me, CNS.com, 160,892,000. This is the number of Americans employed, sets fourth straight record in March. Labor participation rate, according to this article, is 62.6%, the highest it's been in 3 years. How many people are working 2 or 3 jobs, maybe even 4 jobs? A majority of the jobs now in America are part-time, and a majority of Americans now are working more than 1 job. But this sounds great. We have almost 161 million Americans employed, many of them working 2 or 3 jobs, many of them in the service sector, many of them barely getting by. But again, they're going to use this to continue raising rates. A very disturbing article today on The Hedge. It's titled, "Pensions Are Defunding Philadelphia Police." We are watching and witnessing a pension crisis throughout America. And even right here in the state of California, the largest pension in America, CalPERS, has $611 billion in debt, and it's 72% unfunded. This is going to be a huge crisis down the road here. And I bring this up because I want to warn everybody, don't rely on the system to take care of you. Don't rely on your pension to be there 10 years from now. It may not be there in 5 years from now. If it is 100% of that pension going to be there? 25% of that pension? Will your pension exist? This is why it's so imperative that you have an emergency plan, that you're creating your own pensions, that you're putting away for this emergency in case your pensions are not there for you down the road. America's great cities are in trouble, including Philadelphia, according to this article. The allure of the home office has enticed white-collar workers to the suburbs and reduced the value of commercial real estate and residential real estate, shortchanging city tax coffers in the process. According to Philadelphia's financial report, real property taxes dropped by over $20 million from a year ago. So how does Philadelphia, how does Chicago, how does LA, how do they pay for these pensions when tax revenues are cratering and less people are working? Cities like Philadelphia are on the hook for billions of dollars that they owe to the pension funds of retired police officers, firefighters, and civil servants. How are they ever going to get caught up? And remember, these pensions are heavily invested in the market, and they require 7-8% returns. We're not seeing that now. So you're looking at a commercial real estate crisis in the cities. You're looking at pensions now not getting that 7 or 8% in the markets. So how are they going to raise this money when they're already behind billions of dollars? So what they're doing is, I guess this is the answer, they're going to reduce city employment. And Philadelphia has already done that by 8%. Number of police have fallen by 9%. Prison employees are down 37%. And all it's doing is creating a more dangerous environment. So this is going to be another big problem. Another shoe to drop is going to be the pension crisis. So think about where we're at right now. We have a commercial real estate crisis taking place right now. We're watching the housing market begin to crumble, and we have a serious pension crisis that is only going to get worse as the economy gets worse, the markets get worse, real estate gets worse. There's no way they're going to be able to raise the money, and less people are paying taxes now. They're working less. They're getting less back. They're spending less. So it's a huge spider web of just a disaster here, ladies and gentlemen. And people are going to pay the price here, whether through their pensions, their standard of living, their purchasing power, what have you. People are going to pay the price here. And as I leave you today on this beautiful weekend, we're going to be like 90 degrees this weekend. Absolutely stunning. But there are some serious things happening here, and we are heading towards Venezuela. We are heading towards Venezuela. Protect your wealth. Whatever wealth you have, you need to protect it. Make the sacrifices that you have to make so that you can stack some cash, some gold, some silver, pay off the debts, have the essentials, have barterable items, have a safety net, have an emergency reserve in case you or your spouse loses a job. All you can do right now is, if you have a job right now, work your butt off, work as hard as you can to keep that job. The market that we're heading into is going to expose lazy people. It is going to expose weak companies. It's going to expose people who don't want to work. Companies are downsizing right now. You need to do everything in your power to not lose your job, to keep that job so that you can keep acquiring the assets, keep putting some capital away, and keep your head above water. And I think people will be rewarded through this crumbling economy. I think companies are going to reward the people who work hard, who want to work, and who want to be successful. Companies are going to need that to survive. They're going to need hard workers. They're going to need innovative people. They're going to need people who want to work, hungry people, people that want to be there. People who don't, these companies are going to reward you by getting rid of you. They're cutting the fat, they're downsizing. Companies are getting small right now, and many companies are going to just not exist. They're going to cease to exist. They're going under, they're going to be done, and they're going to take everybody down with them. So make sure that you're working for a good company. Make sure you're doing everything in your power to make that effort that you keep your job while other people next to you lose their job. Again, lazy companies and lazy people are going to be exposed, and they're done. It's over. And as this economy worsens and as we head into the worst economic collapse in world history, you don't want to be without a job. You don't want to be without capital and resources and hard tangible assets. Think about right now, if you have a job and you keep that job through this economy as things crumble, you have a cash reserve, you have assets, and you have income coming in on a weekly or monthly basis, you're gonna prevail. You're gonna do quite well as the sales come through this economy. You're sitting pretty. You have an income, you have assets, you have a reserve, you can take a little bit of risk now. And these are the people who are going to get ahead. These are going to be the people who get wealthy. These are going to be the people that take advantage of the tough times. These will be the times to get into the market, not during the dips, but during the crashes. This is where the real money is going to be made. And this is where the person who's been patient, the person who's got the mental mindset, who's had the strategy and has been waiting for these are the people who are going to make it. These are the people who are going to survive, prevail, and prosper, in my opinion. So think about this weekend. Not everybody's going to be poor. Not everybody's going to fail. Not everybody's going to be a victim of this economy. There are going to be people who absolutely prosper, survive, and become very, very wealthy. And I want that to be all of us. I want us all to take advantage of the opportunities. I didn't sit here and spend money I didn't have. I didn't run up credit cards. I didn't run up student loan debt. I didn't buy a house I couldn't afford. I didn't buy a car I couldn't afford. I didn't live beyond my means. Why is that? Because I sat back and I saw where this was all going, just like many of you, that there's going to be huge opportunity. And if we just live at our means or even below our means right now, and we just can stockpile capital, make sure that we have no debt or very little debt, very good credit, make sure that we have a cash reserve, make sure that we have hard tangible assets. Think about the opportunity you're going to see. For most people, it's going to be a nightmare. But for the smart money, the smart people who've made the sacrifices and have exercised patience and who live below their means right now, wow, you're going to have some real opportunity. You're going to make some serious money, in my opinion. Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good weekend to prepare a little bit. It's a good weekend to make some sacrifices. It's a good weekend to get in better shape mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. God bless all of you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon. Make sure you comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for all your prayers. Thanks for all the mail. Thanks for everything. This is not possible without you. God bless.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles.